Next, we're going to go into the Fairyweight class. These are 150 grams, so a third of a pound, with Pissed Off Unicorn versus Mr. Do. Paul with Pissed Off Unicorn in the red corner there. This robot's been very effective. It's got this 3-point spinning triangle thing on top that completely covers the robot. And when it's spinning, there is no way to get to the robot without going through the weapon, which is not exactly where you want to put yourself. Mr. Do, on the other hand, might be one of the best to go against it. His very low-profile wedge is perfect for taking on these kinds of shell-spinning robots because they have a tendency to just glance right off. And in doing so, the weapon will then make contact with the ground and send the weaponized robot flying. These tiny little robots are surprisingly difficult to build. We often end up having to use much softer materials with them because we need things that are small and lightweight. But even getting the parts, the motors, the batteries, the receivers, it's hard to get them small enough to fit into such a small package. Usually for remote control car stuff, you're working with stuff much larger than these robots, so it can be tricky to find all the right pieces for this. Our drivers are ready, the judges are ready. We will start this off in 3, 2, 1, fight. Unicorn getting up to speed as Mr. Do is spinning around, waiting to try and line up a hit on him. Mr. Do is such a fast-moving little robot. Can turn very quickly. And actually, Unicorn's quite fast as well. Hitting the armor on Mr. Do, bouncing off into the red hazard and ricocheting off the wall. Nothing new for Unicorn, though. Only makes it more pissed off as it comes at Mr. Do, ramping up on top of it. There again, that wedge pushes it off balance and makes it contact the floor. Unicorn getting spun back up to full speed yet again. Mr. Do trying to line up here. It's a very fast-moving robot and goes right underneath Unicorn. You can see it barely hits it. It really does nothing to it, but just the very fact that it's putting it off balance is enough to cause problems for Unicorn. It's a very good counter for these sorts of robots. Not able to do a whole lot of damage in and of themselves, but often can use the weapon against itself as Unicorn gets spinning up on top of Mr. Do. And once again, bouncing off the red hazard. Dennis pausing for a moment there, but still has control. Unicorn coming at him again and again, trying to hit him with that weapon as best he can, but Mr. Do is quite low. And every time he keeps hitting the wedge on the front of Mr. Do. If by chance he could hit him from the backside, he might be able to make contact with those nice soft foam wheels, but it is difficult to do, especially against a seasoned driver like Dennis. Unicorn spinning down now. Perhaps conserving battery power. He does have 3 minutes to go, and there's only 1.5 left in the fight, so lots of time he let as he gets up on top and starts spinning himself up well on top of Mr. Do, essentially pushing himself off. Not a bad plan. Every time he spins it up, it also kind of pushes him around a bit. An equal and opposite reaction, so spin the weapon one way, the whole rest of the robot spins the other. Kind of hard to pull back on that, but now he does get the weapon on those wheels, and I can see some of the foam starting to come off of the right side wheel on Mr. Do. With any luck, he might be able to finish that wheel off entirely. And with such a low profile, I don't think Mr. Do would be able to get moving well without much of a wheel on him. Less than a minute to go, though, as Unicorn drives over top of Mr. Do again. And looks like some of the tape on the top of Mr. Do has come off. I can now see his power wires exposed. Uh-oh. Thankfully, it's shielded with some plastic. It's not just bare wire, but they're starting to slip out. We have less than 30 seconds left. Unicorn might make something happen out of this. We haven't had a fire yet this weekend, but we're expecting one at some point. However, if the electronics do come out for any reason, we will stop the fight immediately because we would prefer not to have a fire. Believe me, they smell awful. 15 seconds remaining as Unicorn tries to get some more damage, flying over top of Mr. Do again. 10 seconds to go. He's got some tape. He's got a bit of foam wheel. Can he get more in the last 5 seconds here? 4, 3, 2, 1. Time is up. That's the end of the fight. Well done to both of you. Great job driving to Mr. Do, who is able to get under Unicorn consistently. But also, Unicorn's weapon did manage to get some damage in there at the end. It'll be up to the judges to decide who the winner is based on the amount of damage given and the aggression and control shown throughout the match. Pissed Off Unicorn certainly seems to be one of the fan favorites. The names always help. Paul's Busted Nut Robotics is only the beginning of the lovely witty names he has for his various robots. Pissed Off Unicorn certainly being one of the favorite names. And the judges decide it's unanimous. The win goes to Pissed Off Unicorn. Congratulations, Paul. Once again, tiny little weapon, but it managed to do quite a lot of damage. And that's what really matters for it, even in this very lightweight category.